All right. We are live now. So this is Indie Talk with Jesse and Jeryn featuring the Southwest Spitfire Valentina Loca. So how's it going, Valentina?
Oh, I'm great, guys. Happy to be here, ready to turn up. I see that we got a jam-packed show, so let's get to it.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know, we've been running this for a few months now, and we had a guest on here by the name of Aaron Corbin. I think Midwest Wrestling, I would say legend by this point. He's done so
Yep.
much. He suggested that we should have start having female guests on here, and that kind of sparked that maybe we should. And we were contacting people, and Valentina was one of them that actually saw the message, so that's a good thing. And
Very good
contacted.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I guess we can start off. I mean, we were talking just a little bit before, but how did you get into wrestling and talk about your early training?
Okay, well, I guess I'll give the cliche wrestling answer that I feel like everyone gives in these interviews where they're like, I was a young kid and I seen it on the television and I said, Mom, I'm gonna do that. And so, that was my best 9-year-old voice. I hope you appreciated that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I grew up watching wrestling rather. Loved it. My mom kind of thought it would be a phase and I would move on to something else, and I never did. And then I became an adult, and then I went to college and got myself a whole ass degree like an adult. And then I said, you know what? I'm still going to be a wrestler. I'm still going to do it. So here we are. I've
There
been
we go.
wrestling for about 3 or 4 years now. I got trained out in Iowa with the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, which is headed by Marek Brave and think some guy maybe you might know of, might have heard of him. Seth Rollins, maybe ring a bell. I heard he did a thing once. That guy. So both guys, awesome guys. Taught me everything I knew, everything I know rather. Grammar. What is English? Who even knows, right? But yeah, man,
Correct.
I'm just here. I'm just vibing, and it's been a good ride so far. I've been really blessed to have a lot of cool opportunities to do a lot of cool things. So I'm just here for a good time, not a long time.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, I
Nicely
think that's
said.
a good way to put it. Yeah, I think whether it's wrestling fans or wrestlers, all of our parents they either tell us or it's in the back of their mind, oh, it's just going to be one of those phases those kids go through. They like the wrestling and body slams, Hulk Hogan stuff. So, and then we get older and we still like it. So,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's
I
awesome
don't
to
think
hear
that'll ever go away.
that. I don't
Once
think
you
it would.
once
Yeah.
you're hooked on wrestling, you're hooked. That's it. I mean
Mhm.
that's how I am anyways. I mean, I go through spurts where I can watch it for a while, then I need to take a break from it, and then a few weeks later I'm back to watching it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like the mafia. You can never truly leave the mafia. Like once you're
That
in, you're in. Exactly.
that is true. That is true.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of similar with me, but originally when I did first see it, I was kind of a hater. I was like, this is dumb. And then I was like, my brother was a big fan of it. Then I was like, maybe it is cool. And now 7 years later, 10 years later, so yeah, yeah, it just gets to that point.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. I'll let you go with the question, Jesse.
All right, so Valentina, who is the your um favorite female wrestler that you look up to?
Oh gosh, there are so many that I look up to, and I know that's also like a cop out answer, but like it's true. I feel like, especially as of late in the last few years, like women in wrestling have become just so influential and so inspirational, not just to like the fans, but also to like fellow aspiring superstars like myself. Like seeing people go from like a certain level to like the super highest levels of the industry has been super awesome, and like getting these opportunities that women didn't get before, I think is super great. So I'm always like team cheer for each other, lift each other up, clap for each other. But growing up, definitely, I really liked people like AJ Lee just because seeing somebody who kind of looked like me on
Yep.
TV and getting as much success as she did, I was like, wow, if she can do it, maybe I can do it. Because I'm also not a very tall Hispanic wrestler, as Jeryn, I'm sure, can vouch for. When we took a picture at Discover this weekend, I immediately was like, listen, I'm not tall.
Oh
So,
man.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. So just having that representation and knowing that it was possible for someone like me meant a lot. And that's kind of what I try to give out in my wrestling as well, kind of like the mentality of like, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Mhm.
Everyone can, achieve their goals and their dreams. So yeah, that's pretty much my long-winded inspirational answer.
Oh, that good answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was seeing in an interview, or I think it was on your page too. You're 4'10", but you have the personality of a 5'10" or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta be, man. Like I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen this weekend at Discover Pro. Like I went toe to toe with Paul Verk, who's like probably 7 foot, if
Guys.
not
Oh,
taller.
yeah.
And I didn't care. I said, "What's good? We can get it cracking." And I might have not have like come out with the W, but what matters is I was there and I showed up and I didn't back down. So anybody can get the sauce. It don't matter.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Paul Verk is just tall to me, and it's got to be just twice for you. So, yeah, he is one tall dude and awesome guy, awesome wrestler as well. So, yeah, but yeah, I guess we can segue into that. March 27th, a few days ago, or 4 days ago now, or ish. Discover Pro Wrestling was in Duluth for DPW2, reduced to Ash. You faced Jay Fowler, Alvin Gray, and then Paul Vert kind of just weaseled himself in there. Somehow just came out. He's like, "I'm taking this opportunity," and it became a fatal four way. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on the match overall?
You know, Paul Verk also did something similar to fans who may have been or seen the first Discover Pro Wrestling show. He's got this weird talent of like putting his business where it shouldn't be. But you know what? Respect to him. You do what you got to do. Times are tough. As for the match, that's obviously not something we were expecting. I kind of had a game plan for dealing with two dudes, not like three and a giant. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed it. Like I love the fans of Duluth because they're always so supportive. They're always so loud. They're always, showing their support, whether it be like at the merch table giving you conversation or cheering you on when you're in the ring. Like I couldn't ask for a better experience because, as somebody who does what I do, that's all I want from the fans. I just want to get the energy because at the end of the day, that's all we really feed off of is like the energy from the crowd, the cheers, and for some maybe the booze. I'm not gonna judge. Like so just, yeah, this weekend was great. Even though, like I said, I didn't pick up the W, might have gotten like buns to the face. We don't talk about it. It's still a good time. You got to find the good with the not so great sometimes, and that's how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think a good way to put it. And I was front row for that match, and you came out with the red. I'm like, geez, these lights are pretty cool. So yeah, it was awesome, and the match was cool. And like Paul Vert just decided to battle with, I think it was Alvin Gray, or oh, was it you outside the ring? They went through the corner area or something.
Yeah, no, I think he decided to take up beef with Alvin, which is fine.
Oh
He can
yeah.
do what he like, and then that kind of led to my little interaction with Mister Buns of Steel. So next time.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, great match overall. Great show. That was my first ever DPW show out of the two they've had. But yeah, it was awesome to be there. So yeah. All right. Pete King from All Out Pro Wrestling says, "Good evening, fellas." He's been watching our shows a lot, so he's become a great supporter. So shout out to you, Pete.
Hey,
And
Pete.
yeah. And then he also says one of these days, Valentina, and I'm assuming he wants to. I'm guessing have you on his show sometimes. So of what he's saying, but yeah, Pete King of All Out Pro Wrestling. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I know me and Pete haven't been able to meet up quite yet, but I know I'm never too hard to find, and if availability is a possibility, I'm down to travel. Like if I have to go as far as Duluth which the way I explained it to people was like, it's almost kind of close to Canada. I feel like it's closer to Canada than it is Minneapolis, and I'm just terrible with geography. So like, yeah, I'm willing to travel pretty much anywhere if anybody will have me, and if I'm available, I'm definitely happy to go here, there, and everywhere. So for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty close to Canada. So yeah. All right, I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right, so this is going to be more of a comment sort of question. I think the female wrestlers are getting noticed now and being put on more of the shows, and some of them are even closing out the shows now, which I think is really great. That they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna take you out of your match, and we're gonna put these two girls in there." So, what's your mindset? Have you ever had a promoter come up and tell you you're gonna be the last match tonight?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, it actually happened like 6 months, literally. I kid you not, 6 months into me, like just starting wrestling, just being in front of people. 6 months in, it was my trainer, Marek Brave, who actually promotes the homegrown promotion that we're a part of called SCW Pro. And so I was the only girl out of our school at that time. Like they had no other girls. It was just me. So uh, I was in a feud with a girl from St. Louis by the name of Rain Victoria, if you guys have heard of her. He brought her in. We had ourselves a really great rivalry, and it culminated with us having like a street fight type of match, like just no holds barred. We're just gonna go at it. And we're gonna settle our issues like that. So honestly, when he told me, not only were we like the centerpiece on the poster, which as like a wrestling fan, I was like, but when he told me, he's like, yeah, also, you guys are the main event. And I said, excuse me? Me? So we made it happen. And it was probably the most exhilarating, but also terrifying experience of my entire life. Like, I was ready to just poop a whole house when he told me that. And like, if anything, when I look back on it now, like at the time I was just like shaking in my boots. I could not believe I was handed such an amazing opportunity. Like looking back on it now, like it's just amazing that I was gifted that opportunity so early in my career, and the fact that my trainer believed in me so heavily to like put me as the centerpiece of his entire show that they've been running. Like that company has been running since 2008. I want to say it's been running for a hot minute. So it's a very well-known promotion here in this side of Iowa. So just the fact that he was like, hey, we're going to give you the ball, run with it, close out the show. And it was sold out. It was a crazy, very humbling experience, and just absolutely grateful to be a part of something like that. Like I've never thanked him enough for that. It was really, really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Stephen Harvick, aka Jackson Black of Tennessee All Pro Wrestling, says, "I like your energy. Give everybody the smoke." So,
yeah, Steven, that's what's up. You know, everybody getting the smoke, the sauce, the whole kit and caboodle. Like, I got it for days. Let's go.
Yeah. What is your inspiration behind your wrestling gear and also your wrestling style?
Oh man, that's actually funny that you asked that, because the gear that I wore this weekend at Discover Pro was probably the second time ever I'd worn that gear. My prior gear, rest in peace, actually got a little bit destroyed and ripped, and it was a yellow set of gear. It had the New Mexico flag, which I rep very proudly. If anybody can tell you, I make it very clear that I'm from New Mexico. I love it. It has my heart. So I had that as like my kind of Superman chess piece. My friend jokingly likes to call me Captain New Mexico. And then I had like similar yellow Ray pants, like Ray Mysterio pants, like the slick leather look. I really just wanted to go in on that. So unfortunately, it ripped, and I had to come up with a new concept. So the concept that I'm kind of coming at people now with is the what you've seen, Jeryn, at Discover Pro, is like the silver completely one piece like romper with the AJ Styles hood, and then I have like a Breaking Bad mask, because for those are fans of Breaking Bad, you know it takes place in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is where I rep. So kind of bringing all those elements together and having like the bandanas on the knee pads, showing off that Latin style. that's kind of where I'm coming at least going forward. Because before it was a little bit more like blatantly New Mexico, but now I'm like Breaking Bad, which is still in New Mexico. So always having those small little callbacks and things like that. And as for my wrestling style, I think, as I described earlier, like everyone's just getting the smoke. Like I'm very scrappy, never say die. I don't do the fanciest stuff. I'm not really too much of like a flippy doodah kind of person, which is fine. I like absolutely adore people who can be athletic enough to pull stuff off like that. My feet stay on the ground. I'm more of a come on, let's go kind of gal.
Hmm.
But like
Yeah.
I own that. I have all of this, gift of gab, I guess if you want to call it. I can talk forever. You guys really had a huge mistake putting me on here because we're going to be here
Oh
until
no.
7:30
Oh man.
in the morning. But just like trying to make myself bigger than life because, you know, that's all wrestling is. And yeah, that's pretty much how I would describe myself.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Is yeah, for your wrestling gear, I know I've seen like three different variate or styles that you've worn. You've had well, you had a Discover Pro, the yellow, and then you've had like the black shirt, black cut off tights, and it's just cool how you progress your gear and go from there. So yeah,
Oh, I
and
appreciate
then
it. Yeah.
yeah, wrestling style. I mean, typically for smaller people, it is typically known for them to just do high flying, but it also is good that the yeah, you don't always have to keep flying and stuff. It's more, I mean, more safer to be on the ground, and as long as you're over, you're doing a good job of it. So yeah,
Exactly. Like a punch in the face is just as effective as doing a hurricanrana, and I'm not gonna let nobody tell me different.
yeah, 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 pretty much. Yeah. All right, I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right. So what is your favorite style of wrestling?
Oh man, that's actually a really great question because that's kind of gonna be a little bit of a juxtaposition as to what I just said. uh, honestly,
Yeah.
like as of late, I've really enjoyed like some technical wrestling, like some catch wrestling. I think that's really very interesting to me because it looks like a human chess game. Like it looks like getting out of holds, wrestling on the mat. And if I can give a shout out real quick, shout out to if you guys know of her, Kaya McKenna, get well safe. She's the good witch. She also graduated from Black and Brave, and she's really turned me on to like a whole lot of new technical wrestling that I hadn't seen before. So I'm all about broadening my horizons and kind of learning more because I'm also a student. I love wrestling. I love learning about wrestling. So even if it's not something I particularly do, like if it's something I think that's cool and takes a lot of talent and effort, like I'm a fan of that. And also, I think lucha is awesome. Like I consider myself
Yeah.
like a very like, baby lucha. Like I do very like vaguely lucha things, but like nothing that like the guys of like AAA or CMML like do. I think that stuff is just incredibly athletic and like artistic and beautiful in its own way. So like I would say those two right now are my main like genres. But I just love all wrestling. All wrestling is cool. Like I'm just a big old fan of wrestling. So for sure.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And yeah, different styles of wrestling also is good to see. It's always good to see variations and not just the same stuff over and over. And I think DPW was a good example of that. There was a lot of technical wrestling, high flying, and then even with Devlin Kane and Derek Stone, they had that old, pretty much old. I don't know what style. Yeah, like just the old style of wrestling and just the beatdown kind of thing. So yeah. Uh, yeah. So a few years ago, well, more than a few years ago now, you pretty much started with Steel Domain Wrestling. What were your favorite memories over there?
Working for Steel Domain was actually a really enlightening experience. The times that I worked there, I got to work really closely with Malia Hosaka, who I greatly respect. Like getting to work with a veteran with an abundance of knowledge like she does is an absolute treat. So I think just being able to up my skill level by being in the ring with somebody of her skill level is something that I like never take for granted. Like even the show that I was at before Discover Pro, I got to wrestle with the Island Girl, Tracy Taylor, and she's been wrestling for over 20 years. So, like, just stuff like that is like super humbling and just blows my mind. Like, yo, you've been doing this for a hot minute. I think that's dope. Like, your wealth of knowledge and like the stuff that you can teach me, and like maybe doing things differently, things that I've never done before. Like, that's that same kind of mentality that I had when working for Steel Domain, just being absolutely grateful to have those experiences, because you know you don't get to work with somebody who's been everywhere and done everything and been doing this for a hot minute. So just giving that reverence and respect to people who have done it longer than you and that are better than you at the craft, like, it's just awesome. I think it's cool.
Yeah, Malaya Osaka. I've seen her since I started watching independent wrestling, and she's still doing Steel Domain Wrestling shows. So that's pretty cool that she's still there. She's working with younger talent again, and this, awesome that she's still going. So yeah. Steven again says, uh, bro, she is my spirit animal. Love technical wrestling. ZSJ and Marcel Barthel from NXT.
Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. gang, Steven. That's my dude. Like, I binged his matches so much, and just watching the stuff he does, I'm like, what a like long-limbed, talented human. Like, what's he doing now? Like, I hope he's doing well. Like, yeah, I mean, I just
Yeah.
before I get too fangirly, that's my thoughts on that. I think he's great.
Yeah. Yeah, Zack Sabre, probably an awesome technical wrestler. His style is insane, and he's faced the greats of AJ Styles and many others. So yeah. What?
Who is it?
I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right. So, what do you think of the MAW champion, the system?
I haven't had the chance to work with him yet. I do know, gosh, I might be mistaken. So if I am, to the listeners out there, please feel free to correct me in the comments or whatever. I am pretty sure that a fellow Black and Brave graduate of ours by the name of JT Energy went up to MAW a few months ago and was on a show with the system. I don't believe they wrestled, but I believe he was on that show. And if they did wrestle, even better. Clearly, he's the MAW champion for a reason. I've seen him at Discover Pro. You know, we exchanged hellos and stuff like that. You know, he's got some great hair. So, you know, great
Still
hair.
there, Jeryn? Oh, there we go.
So, yeah, you know, the system, great hair, you know, nice guy. You know, good for him. Good for being a champion. Yeah.
Yeah. System, awesome wrestler. He won the MAW title first at November for the MAW. There's the big tournament that they had, and he's been going strong for a few months. And I mean, people say he's used questionable tactics, and he's quite crafty in the ring, but I think overall he's been pretty good as a champion. So yeah. Uh, oh, I guess he'll be back in a sec, but okay. Yeah. So and oh man. Okay. Yeah. So we mentioned Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. What is the style of training that they do over there?
I would say it's your pretty much cut and dry meat and potatoes wrestling place. You know, I really appreciate more than anything that they focus on the basics. Like, they teach you the absolute groundwork that you need to be successful before you start doing anything crazy. You know, like, can you do a headlock right? Can you do a hip toss right? And you know, everyone is super hands on. Everyone is super supportive of each other. You know, we're all cheering each other on. We all want each other to succeed. So just being very based in your fundamentals, I think, is super important. And like, I think everyone is really cool. Like, from the trainers to the vibe to the gym. Like, there's so much stuff that we have privilege in. Like, we get to work in like an actual old WWE ring, which is really cool. Like just getting the chance to do that is something that I definitely don't take for granted. And just being very confident in who you are as like a character. Like we also do like a lot of character work, a lot of promo work. Like we want to make sure you're good to go from the ground up. Like before you even hit the ground running, like who are you as a wrestler? Like are you, not only a good wrestler, but are you a good person? Are you respectful? Do you, know how to go about conducting yourself in a good way in like locker rooms with fellow people that might not be like from our school? Because when you travel, you're not often going to be in locker rooms with maybe the people that so knowing how to socialize and just be a good person, as well as being like a overly sound, technically proficient foundation of a wrestler.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's awesome to hear that you guys are actually able to train on a former WWE ring, and it's just, I mean, it gives you the actual feel because I mean, rings are there's a lot of variations out there, softer, harder, and I think WWE's it's got to be. I'm assuming it's got to be one of the hardest rings out there to work on. So
Oh
gives
yeah,
you.
you'll definitely feel it. So you got to make sure you do all your stuff right, because if it's not, it's gonna get you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely, and it's I've seen I didn't at least at independent. What? No, I've seen WWE, AEW, and independent shows tear down their ring, and it's just cool. I mean, how they tear it down and what's underneath, and just seeing what wrestlers are working with. So yeah, hmm yeah. Uh, I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right. So, what what was it like for you to hear that somebody like Eddie Guerrero passed away? What was your mindset that day when you heard the news of Eddie's passing?
Oh man, I feel like I can speak for like 99% of people with this answer when you say like it was just heartbreaking. It's just really, really sad. Like
Yeah.
for me, I think it hit a little extra hard for several reasons. Mainly because like Eddie was not only my favorite wrestler, but like one of my biggest inspirations, and I think overall one of my favorite people. And to just like learn one day that he had passed away was the worst, because not only did I not find out like everyone else, back in the day we didn't have the USA Network. We didn't really have cable
Right.
when I was growing up during the time. So the way I found out actually was from kids at my school, because I was in the fourth grade, the fifth grade. I was either or. And when I had walked into school that day, everyone knew that I was like the wrestling person. Everyone knew that I loved
Hmm.
wrestling. So when they came up
Mm,
to me, they're like, "Hey, did you know this person died?" And I thought, kids were being kids and trying to make fun of me because they knew he was my favorite wrestler. So I was like, "You guys are
Yeah.
telling me that that's not very nice that he died," only to find out that he actually did die, and that was
Mhm.
awful. Like,
It,
yeah,
mhm.
to this day,
it really was.
it gets me choked up. Like I can't watch too much like video packages without being sad, or like just like wishing that he was still here, or just hoping for the best for like his family too, because
Yeah.
my dad actually passed away exactly the year before. It's like the same
Mm.
month and everything. Like he
Yeah.
passed away in November of '05, and my dad actually passed away in November of '04. So I knew that pain very, very well, like once Eddie's passing came around. So I just had an extreme amount of empathy, not only for like the other fans that were going through this, but his actual family. Like that stuff is so rough. So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely something very hard. I know I can say for myself at least.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, to have both of those things happen just back to back after 1 year is that's got to be tough on wrestling personality and family life as well. So yeah, and yeah, speaking of Eddie Guerrero too, yeah, died 2005, and I believe I think last November was like his, I think, say 18-year anniversary since his death. And I was at AEW Full Gear. Pretty much all the wrestlers were doing some kind of tribute to him in the ring with the three amigos and the frog splashes, and it's just awesome to see that they were doing that. And I think the last match that someone was doing something was his best friend Chris Jericho with the frog splash from the top rope on Dang it, I forgot the one. I can't even remember the guy, but yeah, he hit him with the frog splash, and I think that was the end. So it was just awesome to see that. I mean, Chris Jericho doing it and then pointing to the sky because it's a good memory of Eddie Guerrero right there. So yeah, all right. I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right. Speaking of Eddie, what did you think? And people are probably just gonna just go nuts, but I'm gonna go ahead, Jeryn, and mention the names since we tab kind of tabooed wrestling. What did you think about when Chris Benoit did the stuff to his family? And did you think that was for him to be with Eddie?
Gosh, oh, honestly, I wouldn't even know how to answer that because I feel like that would just be speculation at this point. And
Right.
like the dark side of the ring episode with Chris Benoit, both parts was very very sad and very tragic, and like that whole
That one was very hard to watch.
yeah, it's just the whole situation is very sad and very unfortunate. And there's no like if, ands, or buts about it. Like I don't know what more I can say about that other than it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like
Yep.
a water is wet type of thing. Like I could tell you,
Right.
and you'd be like, obviously. So like me telling you that stuff was awful is like not anything new or riveting. And for me to
Right.
speculate on like why he did it, I feel like that's not really my place to do that. And I don't
Right.
feel like it'd really be like appropriate to do that because, like I said, I did not know him as a person. I can only speculate probably as much as you can. So like,
Right.
I think that's not really something that I would have the answer to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've brought it up a few times just to see certain viewpoints on it, and yeah, Dark Side of the Ring. That was yeah, both parts were just insane to watch, and I was like, wow. But and just sad in general because they Eddie and Chris's relationship is probably the best friendship in all of wrestling. So yeah. What else? I heard that in a podcast you're actually from Castillo, New Mexico. Talk about growing up there.
Um, it's funny because I believe that is actually on my cage match. I don't know how they got that information because I feel like
Oh,
I've never said the town name because like I feel like nobody would really know where it is anyway. And I honestly think that the listing on my cage match as to like where my hometown is actually misspelled. So it's totally cool because I don't know who to contact about fixing that. But anyways, it's a small town in northern New Mexico. It's called Costilla. So the O and the A are just uh,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, they're just in the wrong place. But it's a very
Mm,
very small town. It's about a mile from the Colorado border in northern New Mexico. On a good day, maybe it had 200 people. So like, I think growing up there really instilled me with like a very big uh, a very big value of novelty. I guess I could say like my closest Walmart was like an hour away. Pretty much everything that I wanted to do that was cool was an hour away, like McDonald's, Walmart, the movie theater, pretty much like things that you would expect to have in like a local town. So when I moved to Davenport and I started training, I thought having like a Walmart and a Chili's and like stuff like 10 minutes away was like the most mind blowing thing. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. I've a whole new world telling me I can get stuff delivered to my house and it was like it's just and I think more than anything, it really makes me grateful for a lot of the things that I have, whether it be like the hugest things in the world, like getting to work for WWE, to like the smallest things, like being able to order DoorDash and have it, Popeye's chicken come to my door in like 15 minutes. Like just having that variety and that wild scale of gratefulness and just being able
Hmm.
to be happy with life and being able to really see where I came from and see where I am now. Like, not to be like cliche again, but almost like that Drake song, like started from the bottom, and we're not quite like there yet, but I feel like we're on our way. So like we're upgrading little bit by little bit. Today we're
mm,
getting DoorDash to my house, and tomorrow maybe I will own an actual house. Who's to say? So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What made you decide to make the move from there? Because that's a quite a ways away. Just to move randomly to the Midwest.
Yeah, right. Iowa of all places too. Gosh, whenever I tell people I live in Iowa, they're like, "How did you get there? Why do you live there?" And I'm like, we're here, we're vibing. I think it just came down to the fact that I wanted to live my life on my own terms. I didn't want to have any regrets. I didn't want to look back on things and be like, "Man, I could have done that," or "I could have moved there and done those things." So, when I was in college, I actually was in like an MMA club, like a sparring club, if you can call it, where we had like mats and punching gloves, and we would like grapple with each other. And I survived it. I won't say that I was good, but I will say that I survived it. Like I survived, getting punched in the face for real, and getting like knocked down and tripped and grappled with, and all this jujitsu shenanigans. I was able to really survive through that, and so my MMA trainer coach at the time was like, "Hey, if you really put your mind to this, you could actually like be somewhat decent if you wanted to." So that really was like a light bulb moment for me where it was like, well, I don't really like MMA. Like I didn't watch UFC. I wasn't like a big UFC person. I just did it because it was athletic and fun, and I thought it would be something different to do on a Saturday night, other than go out with my friends and rage on a college campus. And mind you, that was fun too. But like just having I guess a varying degree of hobby. And so when he told me that, I was like, oh, well, if I can do this like physically, like what's stopping me from doing wrestling, which is what I'm really passionate about. And so I seen that Seth Rollins had a school, which actually, funnily enough, I feel like the stars aligned. It opened up while I was in college. So I was like, yo, we can actually probably do this. So I did. And I graduated from college the same semester, the same exact month that I graduated from wrestling school. So, like, that's cool.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's awesome to hear that how you got from your birthplace into wrestling and your I think I remember that I heard about your MMA stuff in high school, and it was just kind of interesting to see how you went from that and then transitioning to wrestling. So yeah. In the comments section here, North Dakota pro wrestler Bullet Bronson says, "What's up? What's up, Bullet? It's awesome. Always awesome to have you in the comments feed and talk to you." So, it's a quick shout out to him. Um, and also Stephen Harvick, Jackson Black. He says, "I want to wrestle my doppelganger ASAP, and we both aren't even tall, so even playing field." Which I don't know how true that is, Jackson. You're pretty tall. I've seen your matches, so I don't. Yeah, but yeah. All right, I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right, so Bullet Bronson in the comment section said, "I wish I was tall, Steven. I plan on going to Black and Brave as well. Ha ha." But speaking of that, I think the smaller wrestlers are a lot more entertaining to watch over
Mm-hmm.
the like 6 foot six people. Um, what's your take on that, Valentina?
Man, all wrestling is awesome, man. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, all wrestling is super cool. Like, anybody who can do like what I do, or anybody who steps in the ring and gets trained professionally and really makes a commitment to this, like has my 100% respect. Like we're all in this together. We're all doing our own varying degrees of art, if you want to call it that. Like it's just apples and oranges, man. Like if people like cool flippy doodah lucha small boys, awesome. If you like big hoss boys, like big meaty men slapping meat, that's awesome. There's something for there, like for you too. Like it's a whole buffet of awesomeness, if I can put it in like a metaphor. Like there's something for everybody. Like nothing I believe is like better or superior than another. I just think that like all wrestling is cool, and like when other people succeed, like we succeed. So like, we're all hanging out, we're all, sweaty and wrestling each other in our almost underwear. So like it's all gravy. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's typically how my friends who are non wrestling fans are just like you watch that big sweaty men wrestling. I was like, I guess if you want to put it that way, but I just call it wrestling. But yeah, pretty much.
Or another
Uh,
cliche, Jeryn, is, oh, you like to watch other men rolling around with other men in their underwear?
yeah,
Like, come on,
yeah.
man, it's entertainment.
All wrestling gear, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, wrestling's got a bad rap for non-wrestling fans. So yeah, it's a
yeah,
shame on them, though.
yeah.
uh, what are the different atmospheres of wrestling city/state crowds?
Man, I think there's like a variety of different crowds around different places. Like, I've wrestled in like very like mom and pop, very like family oriented crowds, like at SCW Pro here in Iowa. Like, I love those crowds because they just want to be entertained, they just want to be interacted with, they just want a good story, and like I'm all about that because I love getting the people. That is my top number one 10 out of 10 hobby. If there are people there, they will be gotten to. For better or for worse, if you bought a ticket, you're gonna be gotten to. So like
Mhm.
crowds like that are super awesome. And then I've had the privilege to like wrestle in front of crowds like for Shimmer weekend. Like I've gotten a really awesome opportunity to wrestle for Shimmer on a few other dark matches a time or two. And like those fans are like die hard. Chicago native, ready to see some wrestling, no nonsense. They're just here for the craft. And I think that's also awesome. Like the people that respect wrestling in that way, like is the same way that like me as a fan, like I would love to go to Shimmer weekends for WrestleMania week when I was a fan and like just really appreciate the athletes for their art. Like that's awesome. And then also just like people who are there to have a good time. Like people who aren't really wrestling fans, but they're kind of curious about it and they're just like, I'm gonna give this a shot. So if you give them a little bit of comedy, give them a little bit of shenanigans, like really show them why wrestling is pretty much the greatest thing on the world. Like I love doing that too. Just making smiles on faces, giving the children the high fives, kissing the babies, the whole lot. Like it's all really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah, it's
sure.
awesome to hear just different wrestling crowds and cities and states definitely vary a lot. I've been in like some of the most family friendly, like Steel Domain Wrestling, to the probably the uh most I don't know, very passionate, just hardcore fans of Time Bomb Pro Wrestling in Fargo, North Dakota. So it's definitely it's always interesting to be in part of different crowds and atmospheres for you as wrestlers and then as fans as well. So yeah. All right. I'll let you go, Jesse.
Yeah. Um, I definitely like hearing like at the end of the matches from other people saying, "Oh, did you see that match? Did you see so and so do this?" Um,
Mm.
and it it's wonderful to hear from other people. Have you had people come up to you at the end of your matches and say, "You did a really good job tonight"?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it means just as much every time. Like it doesn't matter if it was 4 years ago or today or tomorrow. Like anybody who expresses their appreciation to me, like I express it right back because people really don't have to spend their hard-earned money to see people like me doing our thing, but they do, and that is awesome.
Right.
Like, I could not do what I do without fans, pretty much. So anytime somebody comes up and is like, "Hey, you did awesome," even if I didn't get the W, like I'll just be real with them and be like, "Hey, thanks for coming out. Like I tried my best, but get them next time," type deal. Like I think being like weird about compliments, I'm all just like, hey man, thanks. Appreciate you. Have a nice day. Like it's all gravy. It's all love here.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
well
yeah.
said.
Yeah, it's good that fans are complimenting you and just going up to the merch tables and saying a quick hello or good match kind of thing. And I think wrestlers do appreciate it. I try to do as much as I can. I think most like it, and some are just like, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah. And then, well, that some of the wrestlers is quiet in general, but quiet personalities. But I'm, I hope deep down that you are putting on a show for the crowds that, like you said, they didn't have to, but they did. And I think they should because it's pro wrestling, but yeah, yeah. Hmm. Uh, so you've worked, I think you have a couple upcoming shows and you've also done shows in the past with midget wrestling warriors. What is that atmosphere like there?
It's always a party there. Like I love doing those shows because not only do I get to go to like different places in different states, but I also get to interact with like a whole bunch of new fans. Like going back to like casual fans or fans that have never really seen wrestling before, like that are there just to have a good time. Like it is just an awesome experience. Like being around a room full of people that just want to cheer you on and have a good time is the most infectious kind of energy. And that's always the energy that we get no matter where we go. Like I've done a couple shows for them already from last year, I believe I started. And just every show's just been a hoot because everyone just wants to have a good time. There's not any of like the attitude of like, oh, let's see if they like mess up this or mess up that. Like it's just wrestling. Heck yeah. Go do the thing. Awesome. And like what more could you ask for? Like it's always a party, always a good time. And like the crew that I travel with are always just like the nicest, coolest people too. So like 10/10 experience all around. I believe we're going to be doing a lot more other shows too this coming year. Like we're on fire. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more with them this coming year as well. So that's exciting.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was looking through your page. It seems like you've done a lot of shows and you advertise for future shows. So it looks like it's a big thing happening in that part. So, yeah. Uh, I wanted to run down a list of women wrestlers that you fought, slash, I think, obviously been in the ring with. But first, Brooke Valentine, what are your thoughts on her?
She's one of my fight forever kind of people. And I say that because ever since I started wrestling, like we've always wrestled each other because she lives in Iowa, I live in Iowa. It's a great story to tell because, she's like this, she can be like this big monster heel, and I can, be like this cool, awesome crafty baby face. And we always tell really great stories. Like even if I'm the one being the not so nice person that day, like it's always a good time. And I'm really happy for like all the success that she's gotten as of late. Because I see she's like everywhere now. She's doing so many cool things. So like also a great human. So I'll fight her all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely a monster in the ring, great talent, and she also did Steel Domain wrestling shows back in the day, and I saw her again at First Wrestling, so I was like, hey, you're back, so it's yeah, obviously great talent, and she's got a great heel character as well, so yeah. What are your thoughts on Cassandra Golden?
Ooh, I love Cassandra. She's also a great human. I had the chance to wrestle her pretty recently in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and we had a great match. Like super sportsmanlike, super friendly. Man, like she's super strong too. Like just so buff, and I am just like, you know what? I got guns too, Cassandra. What's up? So, also a pleasure to work with, and I hope I get to work with her more in the future as well.
Mm, okay, yeah. Uh, Kaylina Keen.
Okay, well, she's a new baby. She's one of our new gals. She just graduated from our school. I think she's had less than 10 matches. She's also like a really great person, but also like a super unique look. Like I've never seen anyone like her in wrestling. Like from her gear to her presentation to really the way that she like articulates things and puts things together. Like she's got such a bright future in wrestling. Like however far she wants to take it, I believe that she can do it. Like she's just awesome. And plus, she's also with me in being a super big fan of Machine Gun Kelly. So we have that bond. So too sweet to Kaylina, EST for life. That's my homegirl.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Uh, Miss Kate.
Ooh, she's spicy. I see that she's taking a little bit of a spicier turn these days, and I love to see it. Like, just super talented, really awesome to come out of the Chicago area. Always a great time to work with her and just really create some awesome moments. Like there was a time in I believe it was a three-way that we had in Chicago, and we needed to fill some time. So we just start like chopping each other just so hard. And I remember I might have posted it on my Instagram. I can't remember, but there's a moment where she just chops me so hard, and you can hear the room go silent, and I'm just like, ah! And it was great. It was amazing. So yeah, Misa K is also great to work with. I think she'll be doing a lot of good things, and she is. She's like on NWA and doing her thing. So like, heck
Oh.
yeah, do it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, chops. Every time I see them, it doesn't look pretty for the other person. So, those things are loud, and they definitely hurt after seeing the red chest and everything. I'm like, God damn. Yeah. Uh, Harley Fairfax.
Ah, that's an interesting name. I've only wrestled her once, and it was in Alabama. I also think that she has an interesting look. I dig the Black Widow thing. I know we haven't really had a chance to wrestle much again after that last encounter because I believe she's from Ohio. She's still based out of Ohio, so I haven't wrestled in Ohio as much as I'd like to. In fact, have I wrestled in Ohio at all? I don't think maybe I've even wrestled in Ohio at all. So that could be a potential way for me to get over there. Like, or actually, no, that's a lie. I have wrestled in Ohio. I've wrestled in Cleveland, of course.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, scratch that. I have. But to go back to Ohio, yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't think you've necessarily wrestled her, but I know she's been on the same card as you. But WWE legend Jazz. Have you had any
Ooh,
conversations? Or?
yeah. We were actually. Did I wrestle Harley on that show that Jazz was on? I may have. Don't quote me on that. I get dropped on my head a lot. But yeah, I did a seminar with Jazz, absolutely. And just like the most wealth of knowledge that you could ever ask for. Just super nice, super forthcoming with like all of the information, not pulling any punches with like teaching you things, telling you what you can do better, but also just being a great human on top of it. So like having that duo of being awesome at what you do and being a great person, like I know people say like don't meet your heroes, but Jazz is just awesome. Like if anybody has a chance to do a seminar with her or pick her brain, she's just great. I love her.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious because I did see her on the same card. I'm like, I definitely got to ask her about that because WWE legends. So yeah, definitely. I would say trailblazer of women's wrestling from the early 2000s. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to hear a couple names and what you thought of them just off the bat like that. So it's awesome to hear some of the. I mean, most of them I haven't heard of, but just maybe it's cool what you think. So
Yeah,
yeah.
check them out if you haven't. Check out Kaylina, check out Misa, check out Brooke. They're all doing really awesome things. They're doing their thing, and if you can even get them on here, they're really super great gals to talk to. So like, definitely for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think Jesse just messaged he was having some issues, so hopefully he can get back on in a second. But yeah, I can keep going. I believe I think besides like the MMA stuff that you kind of did, you were a red. Oh, there's Jesse. Are you doing good, Jesse?
Yep, doing fine.
All right. Yeah, we just ran down a couple of women's wrestlers that off the bat what her original thoughts were, and she actually was on a show with the WWE legend Jazz, so we were talking about that a
Oh,
little bit.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, I can let you go with the question, Jesse.
All right. So now that we know that you trained with Seth Rollins, have you ever met Becky Lynch at the school?
Yeah, absolutely. She's there working out with him all of the time and just also just super nice. Just one of the
Yeah.
nicest people I've ever met. Just so like personable and just so like approachable and like awesome and just obviously the goat, just super great at everything she does. Like literally just had a baby and is like out there
Hmm.
lifting the weights and doing the crossfits and just superwoman. Like how could you not be inspired by that? So absolutely
Right.
fantastic. Also great human.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I remember I did see pictures of her at the Black and Brave when she was pregnant and stepped away from wrestling. I was like, hey, it's cool that she's sporting Seth and looking at the school and stuff. So yeah, uh, yeah. So I was gonna go before, but so yeah, you were originally not from an athletic background besides the MMA stuff, but how did that affect you inside the wrestling ring?
Ugh, let me tell you, brothers, not being athletic meant that for a long time, and I will happily admit this, I was not very good. I was very much like learning as I went. When I first started wrestling, I didn't know what I did. I didn't know who I was. I kind of just was very excited to be in the world of wrestling finally and just wanted to hit the ground running and set the wrestling world ablaze and, you know, have all these aspirations for myself. And then, you know, when you're not athletic things don't come very easy to you. So it took a lot, and I mean a lot, of falling on my face and failing and, you know, not getting invited back places and just continuing to work at the craft and continuing to be the best that I can, because if people are going to invest in me, I have to invest in myself. So, you know, just being consistent and, you know, learning new things, being open to try new things, all of that stuff. So, yeah, like athleticism, not my bag, but what matters is my work ethic. Like, I might not be the best right now, but I'm going to keep working until I am, or at least, you know, I get there. So I might not be the fastest, I might not be the strongest, you know, I might not be any of those things that you would associate with somebody with like a highly elite athletic background. But what matters is that I will work until I am on par, or I will continue working until I am on par with those kinds of people. So that's pretty much it. That's how I describe myself, at least in the beginning, in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah, definitely got to be a little bit different, not coming from an athletic background. But then again, there are so many wrestlers that really haven't come from an athletic background, and I think a great example of that, I believe he did do a little bit of baseball, but someone who's facing Stone Cold Steve Austin tomorrow, Kevin Owens. So he originally wasn't from an athletic background, but he's on the top right now, so that's what counts. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. So there you go, learning something new every day. Good for him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've watched some of his older interviews when he was in PWG and ROH and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking at the DPW Discuss Pro Wrestling Facebook group, and Scott Malkish, I believe that is. He says Valentina Loca is a Spitfire. Loved watching her at Discover Pro Wrestling and more. So
Heck
yeah.
yeah, Scott. Woo. Hope to see you back at another show. I hope to be back at another show, you know. If they'll have me, I'll definitely be back in Duluth. You don't have to ask twice. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, you go, Jesse.
So has anybody else from Minnesota contacted you about coming on to one of their shows to wrestle for them?
Um, not coming up as far as I know, but hey, if availability is there, like I said, I'm happy to make the drive on over. I used to work pretty frequently at like Higher Ground Pro, and I
Oh,
believe that I will be working for Showtime. But that's in Chippewa Falls. That's not in Minnesota. Uh,
yeah.
well, as far as I know, Showtime is the only one like upcoming that I know of that I will kind of be in the area. But again, not really in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, but like adjacent to Minnesota, I guess. Yeah, hit me up, guys. DMs are open for bookings. No
Mm-hmm.
funny business. No funny business.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, like let me know and I can check my schedule and we'll make it happen.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I mean, there's, yeah, I say Midwest wrestling has never been as big as it has been, in Minnesota. It just has so many companies now from just a few years that I started watching in 2017, and it's just grown. So I hope Minnesota companies contact you, because it would be awesome to have you debut for their shows. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Always happy to be there if I'm available. So yeah, hopefully in the future we can make that happen.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, uh, what are your thoughts on WoW wrestling, women of wrestling?
I think that's super exciting. A lot of gals that I actually know, I believe, are working for them. So like
Hmm.
any chance to get more exposure, to be seen by more people, to put more smiles on faces, as they say, like how could you hate that? So I think that's awesome. I think they announced more additions to their roster today, recently, you
Hmm.
know. And so that's awesome. If, you know, more opportunities for girls to get paid are there, I say all for it. Like more wrestling is never a bad thing. So I'm excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I brought it up because I was seeing a big wrestler who just been signed, Ricket the Haka. I've been seeing that around the news a little bit, so thought it would be cool to bring that up. So yeah. Uh, how has your character evolved from 2017 to now?
I don't think the character itself has changed because like the character at its core is just me turned up to like 27 million hundred. Like I just put myself out there to like the best version of myself or the worst, depending on what day you catch me. But I will say from 2017 now is a greater degree of confidence. I definitely have much more assurance in who I am, what I do, what I bring to the table versus in 2017 I was just more like happy to be here, just kind of being like I don't know what I'm doing but I'm just happy to be here, turtle. And now I'm kind of like, what's good, who wants to smoke, let's go. I'm about it. So I think having that time to figure out who you are is super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Pretty much when you debut to wrestling or a new company, it's pretty much the honeymoon period, as they say it. You're just pretty much glad to be there and everything. But then once you've been there, most wrestlers are like, now I gotta make my money. Got to get my name out there and everything. So, and I think sounds like you've been doing a pretty good job of that. So, yeah.
Awesome, well thanks, appreciate it. And I've appreciated this chat, guys. Thank you for having me
You're
on.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of comments now. Yeah.
Woo! We love the comments. We can get to them before we get out of here, before we skedaddle.
um, yeah, what is yeah, Boa Bronson was just saying whenever I'm at shows setting up, the big boys love bumping me around. So uh yeah. Oh, you go, Jesse.
All right. So, what's your take on Rachel Ellering?
Oh, I've never met her, but or have I? Recently, was she on Shimmer? Again, I get dropped on my head a lot, and I meet lots of people, but I do know of her, and I do think that she's a lovely human, and I really enjoy her stuff on Impact. And from what I've heard, she's also a really nice person. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's also important to me. Like you're a great wrestler, cool, but you're also a nice person. That's extra cool because
Yeah.
nice. Don't let nobody tell you different. So yeah, I haven't had the chance to wrestle her. I haven't really, I want to say I haven't had a chance to meet her, but I might be wrong. Maybe I have. I'm so sorry, Rachel, if we've met and I forgot. But yeah, nothing bad to say about her because I don't know her, but she seems lovely and I would love to wrestle her one day. So
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
That'd be a good match, I think.
yeah. I think it would. Yeah. Someone book it, guys. Come on, guys.
Get
Yeah,
get Craig back on.
great. Yeah, but yeah, Rachel Ellery, and I believe you've seen her once, right, Jesse, at MAW, or
No, that's gonna be coming up May
okay.
13th. That yeah. But I met her a couple of summers ago, and she is a real nice human being. Her father is Paul Ellering.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, WWE legend
yeah.
right there. So yeah, and I believe she's gonna be at a show in Fargo, North Dakota for Below Zero Wrestling. So I'm gonna be in the area, so that'll definitely be awesome to see her for the first time. So
oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'll be debuting for Below Zero as well. Not at that show specifically, but we have a date coming up. So peep
Oh,
your peep your social medias. Watch out for that announcement. And well, yeah, I'll be excited to see you there whenever the announcement comes out.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Talk about Central Empire Wrestling.
Oh gosh, that place has believed in me from the jump. They started, believing in me, putting like storylines on, having me be a part of it. I got to wrestle for their first ever women's title. I didn't win initially, but I did end up winning. I want to say the year after, 2 years after. I did. What matters is I did end up winning it. All right, I did was successful in my title hunt, and then I had some guy, we're not going to name any names, Big Bad
Mm.
Wallace, come in and try to take the belt because he thought it was cute that it was pink. So June 4th, we're going to have some issues, Mr. Wallace, and I'm going to need my belt back. So that's that on
Oh, okay.
that.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of their stuff, and they've been hyping up their next big show on Saturday, June 4th, Ottumwa, Iowa. They've got one of the Bushwhackers, Ted DiBiase, Victoria, Matt Cardona, Hornswoggle, Ron Simmons, Carlito, and Trevor Murdoch. So that
Yeah,
definitely
it's
looks that
it's
card.
Central Empire's biggest show of the year. It's kind of like our own WrestleMania. We get a really nice venue. It's like a WrestleMania access beforehand. You get to play video games, meet with a bunch of cool superstars. Definitely suggest you come out if you have the chance. Like it's an awesome atmosphere, and it's only a once a year type thing. Like they usually don't put on this magnitude of shows at least once every year. So like definitely I say if y'all aren't doing anything June 4th, like I'll be there. So if that's not enough motivation to go, you'll also get Victoria and Ron
Definitely.
Simmons and other people. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about it, maybe making the road trip up there with some buddies, but it definitely does look intriguing now. So, yeah. All right. I'll let you go, Jesse.
All right, we'll do one more question each, and then we'll do the contest, and then we'll wrap her up. Um, so, if you had an opportunity to face one wrestler out of any company, who would it be?
ooh, do they have to be alive?
They can either be alive or passed away.
Okay, because I would love to wrestle Eddie Guerrero only because not only is he my favorite wrestler and probably one of the greatest to ever do it, but I've just heard so many stories about so many guys that have worked with him and just become like instantly better because of it. Not only better wrestlers, but better people. And so just having that opportunity, kind of going back to what I said about wrestling gals that have so much experience, like getting to wrestle somebody with as much experience from the ground up as Eddie had, and just being, a fellow Hispanic and all the other good feelings that come with that. Like that would have been awesome. But also, I'm just down for learning and continuing to be a student of the game. So all opportunities, I'm happy to have them my way.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. 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 Definitely a good way to put it. Yeah, so I guess we can go to the contest now. So basically, Jesse and I have been talk with local Midwest wrestlers, announcers, personnel about donating items for a giveaway bundle that we've been talking about. And before the show, Valentina Loca was suggesting that we should give it to a winner who decides who her wrestling trainer, Seth Rollins, is going to face tomorrow or Sunday at WrestleMania. So if you guys comment on here or send us a DM or message about who is gonna face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Well, whoever wins, I mean, if there's multiple winners, we can also do like a spin the wheel kind of thing as well. And if you win, then we can give you the bundle. We are pretty much almost wrapped up on getting all of our items together, but yeah, the Valentina wanted to suggest that since she was trained by probably the greatest superstar now, Seth Rollins. So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, they got some sweet stuff. You want it. Free stuff is always good. Don't matter what it is. Free stuff is great stuff. That's what I say.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always good stuff. Oh, we've already got one prediction, Cody. I think everyone's been talking about that. It
Yeah.
definitely. It's, a lot of people really think it's Cody. I really don't want to believe it's Cody. I hope he really. I don't think it's good for his career to go back, but it definitely well could be Cody. But yeah, yeah, Cody. That's what Scott Melkish says. So yeah, for any future predictions in the future after this show, you can message us somehow, or and we can get that squared away sometime and do a wheel or something. So yeah. But yeah, that I think that can conclude our show.
Yeah.
We've been talking with Valentina Loca, the Southwest Spitfire, and it's definitely been awesome talking with you, Valentina, and seeing you at DPW as well. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank you guys again, like I said, for having me on. If I see you
You're
at a
welcome.
show, feel free to come say hello. I'm probably nearly almost at my merch table because I love talking with the people and seeing what the vibe is. So yeah, for sure. Is this the part where like I plug all my socials? Is that the part of the show that we're doing here?
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I wasn't the one calling the shots here, so I wanted to make sure we're all good rather than being like, this is what we're doing now. This is my show now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
you're good.
very easy to find on all social media ever. I am at facebook.com/S West, like the direction, Spitfire. So like Southwest Spitfire, but S West Spitfire. That on Facebook, same handle on Twitter, same handle on Instagram, same handle on TikTok. If you want to send me money, same handle on PayPal. Just kidding, but I mean, not. And I've been having like weird problems with, I guess, people making fake pages of me. So if you are not on those handles, there's no underscores, there's no spaces, there's no numbers. It is just S West Spitfire on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you're talking to any of those people, if you're trying to add a friend that is not on that Facebook URL, you're not going to get a response because that's not where to contact me. So, yeah, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, hit me up. I'm usually always around because life, but yeah, that's pretty much all my stuff.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. All right. I'll let you do a closing thing, Jesse.
All right. Well, we thank you for your time, and we would love to have you back on the show again.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Okay. All right. Have a nice night, Valentina.
Yep.
Live
You
is
guys,
ending.
all righty, bye bye.